You'll notice in your program, I'm a pastor, I always want to say bulletin. It's not a bulletin, it's a program. Kind of get the theater talk. You'll notice the first page there is dedicated to Ron Hayes. Ron and Jackie did Okeechobee Community Theater for 40 years. I don't know how many shows they did at that time. They were absolutely amazing. Shows that I would dream of trying. They just jumped right in and did it and did an amazing job. Ron went home to be with the Lord a few weeks ago, and we wanted to honor him tonight. I hope one day they'll call this the Hayes Auditorium because they spend so much time with it. We just want to honor him tonight. Well, I would ask you to turn your phones to silent because the phone rings before you out of the theater. No, just want you to have a good time tonight. It is our great privilege to be able to do this for you. So at this time, we want to present for you Dial In for Murder.
Is everything okay?
For a moment, I thought it was Tony. I'm sorry I interrupted you. What were we speaking about?
Well, I was just telling you how I murdered exactly 52 people since I saw you last.
Oh, yes. One a week. How did you do it?
Every way I could think of. I electrocuted some there in the bathtub. I threw some in the garage with the motor running. I threw some over out of cliffs and out of windows. And I even poisoned some tea. But most weeks, I just prefer to shoot, stab, strangle, slug, or suffocate.
Just according to how you felt.
When you write for that kind of television, you don't have time to feel any.
Where do you get all your ideas from?
Oh, newspaper clippings, police files, bad dreams, other writers.
You once told me you couldn't write anything that wasn't original.
Well, you tried being original 52 times like you.
Suppose you just dry up and can't think of anything.
Well, if it comes to that, I just pull out my 3 hats.
What do you mean?
I've got 3 old hats marked who killed who, how, and why.
Which is what? I mean, what's why?
Why is the motive for killing? Because you've got to have motive, right? And there's 5 very important ones. Fear, jealousy, money, revenge, and protecting someone you love. I just write them down on a piece of paper and pick them right out of my white hat.
Sounds rather like sorting the week's washing.
And it's about as artistic as that, too. But better paid. It's really no more frustrating than writing a novel that never gets published or a play that never gets produced. But don't forget, it goes to prove. Here I go. White-o makes teeth bright-o.
I could hardly believe when I heard your voice. At first I thought you were phoning from New York.
Was that okay, me phoning like that?
Yes, of course.
Was that Tony who answered?
Yes, it was. Poor darling. I hope he won't be too late. He always gets caught up when we're going to the theater. So, you're not on holiday this time, Mr. Halliday?
No, not this time. I'm in town to write some short TV films, and after that, I think I'll knock off my film. Write that novel. I gotta write it sometime.
Another crime story?
Yeah, I gotta stick to crime. It's my stock in trade. And there's nothing wrong with a good murder story if it's done right. And I think I could write a pretty good one. I thought of a fair gimmick on the plane ride over. There's these 2 twins. They're identical. One lives in Paris and the other in New York. All of a sudden, they both decide to.
Max, before Tony comes, I ought to explain something.
All right.
I didn't tell him anything about us.
Okay.
Yes, well, when you rang up, I just said you were American I met while he was in New York.
Well, that's true enough.
I said I'd met you again just before he came home, and you promised to look us up if you ever were back this way.
I see.
Max, I know you'll think it's silly, but when you meet Tony, you'll understand why.
Margot, let me just get one thing straight. Things are
couldn't be better, and I want to keep them that way.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear. At least I will be when I get used to the idea.
Yes, well, there is another thing, Max. I wasn't going to tell you, but you remember those letters you wrote me?
Yes.
Yes, well, after I read them, I wrote them. I got it best. All except one. You probably know the one I mean.
Yeah. You know what? I really shouldn't have written that.
Yes, but I loved it just the same. I used to carry it around with me wherever I went. And one weekend, Tony and I were off to the country for a weekend with friends, and then sitting on the platform waiting for the train, I noticed that my handbag was missing. And the letter was inside.
And where was this?
Victoria Station. I thought I must have left it in the restaurant, but when I went to go look for it, it had gone.
You never found it?
I recovered the handbag about 2 weeks later from the lost and found, but the letter wasn't there. And then a week later, I received a note telling me what I had to do to get the letter back.
Which was?
I was to draw £300 from my bank in £5 notes. It said if I went to the police or told anyone, they would show the letter to my husband.
May I see it? Thank you. You know, this is in all capitals. And it's printed. Anyone could have done this.
Yes, well, 2 weeks later, I received this one.
They're both from postmark from Brixton. Tie up the money in the package and mail to John S. King, 23 Newport Street, Brixton, SW9. You'll get your letter by return. Boy, of all.
That's a little shock. Some people use it as a forwarding address.
Did you mail the money?
Yes, but the letter was never returned. So, after waiting 2 weeks, I went back. They said they never heard of a man by that name, and the parcel was still there. It had never been opened.
Well, that's something. Hey, may I keep this?
Yes, if you like.
Thank you. Did you tell Tony?
No, I didn't tell anyone. And I can't understand why the man didn't take the money.
Well, he was probably in jail by that time. Margot? Why didn't you tell me?
There's nothing you could have done. You would have made me tell Tony and the police. As it was only £300, I thought it best for me to just pay up and have the whole thing done with.
Are you ever going to tell Tony about us?
No, I couldn't possibly. Not now.
Not. Don't you think it'd be better if we just...
Please, Max. I know Tony. You don't.
You don't have to tell me. You know, just the very thought of meeting him makes me really uncomfortable.
Oh, well, you'll get along fine. He's changed a lot this last year. In fact, now he's a model husband. You know, it was exactly a year ago it happened.
What happened?
Tony suddenly grew up. He seemed to change overnight from a rather selfish little person into a perfectly reasonable grown-up. Max, you remember that night? I came to say goodbye.
Yes, I remember. Tony was off to some tennis tournament or something.
Yes, but he never actually left. I'm not much good about writing about things like this, so I didn't try. But when I left your flat in Chelsea, I came back here. I sat down on the sofa and had a good cry. And then I fell asleep. When I awoke, there was Tony standing in the hall with all his bags and tennis rackets, saying that he decided to give up tennis for good and settle down.
How? Just like that.
Just like that. Of course, I didn't believe him at first. I'd gotten so used to tagging around after him, I could see no end to it. But he meant it all right. Went out the very next day and got himself a job. Max, what were we doing a year ago?
I remember that. I was making my world-famous spaghetti, which you love, by the way. When I almost turned around and I said, let's find Tony and just end this whole thing. Just tell him the truth. Have it out.
Yes, but I felt the same way too. I wanted so much to say something, but all I could do was stand there, quite uselessly. But here we are, and what looks so hopeless has completely turned round. And, as strange as it may sound, Tony and I are very happy now.
Well, if that's true, I'm happy.
Max, let's drink to the way things turn out.
To the way things turn.
Oh, there you are.
about a year ago on vacation.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Margot told me. You write for the radio, don't you?
The television. For my sin.
Yes, television. Poor devil. Will you be staying long with us then?
I'm not sure. I got some writing to do. After that, I think I'll travel a little.
That's a good idea. But don't waste your time on museums and cathedrals. Once you've seen one, you see them all, if you ask me. Darling, would you take Max to the Tower of London?
Oh, friend, I didn't.
No, I've already been there.
Oh, well, what a shame. We've always wanted to see the tower, haven't we? But seriously, Max, if there's anything we can do, anytime.
Thank you, Tony. I'll remember.
Darling, it's getting late. Did you reserve a table?
Yes, 7 o'clock.
Wonderful. Get your coats on.
Oh, darling, slight alteration to the plans.
Now, don't say you can't go.
I'm afraid so. Old man Burgess is flying to Brussels on Sunday, and I have to get my monthly reports in by tomorrow.
Can't you do it when we get home?
Afraid not, she'll take hours. I should have to fake half of it as it is.
Right. Well, maybe you'll meet us after the theatre. We might go out.
Give me a ring in the intermission, and if I feel inspired, I might make it.
Do try. I'll get my things, Max.
Here are the tickets, Max. You might need these where you're going. Well,
Thank you.
I'm afraid this is extremely rude of me.
No, not at all. Listen, I'm just sorry you can't go.
You must come to dinner one night, and then I can bore you with all my stories of professional tennis.
Thanks. I'd like to.
Do you play by chance?
Tennis? No. Better fan. But you were great.
Oh, thank you. Never quite good enough, though. Got out just in time, didn't I, darling? No, I'm afraid it's a young man's game now. Look here, Max. There's a little get-together tomorrow night for some American chaps who've been playing in the continent, and we're thinking of throwing them a stag party just down the road.
A stag?
Well, I call it a stag party. It's really quite harmless. Just a sort of farewell get-together for old friends. Would you be interested?
Well,
A lot of pros and former pros. Think we'll have a good time.
okay. Very well, man.
Darling, Max is coming to the party tomorrow.
Oh, wonderful. Do come round for a drink first, won't you?
That's the idea. Oh, by the way, do you have a dinner jacket?
No. But I can pick one up anyway.
Oh, good. We won't even need a car. We can just walk there.
Darling, it's getting terribly late. We'd better go now.
Should I get a taxi?
No, we could usually catch one on the way. We'll miss you, darling.
All right, off you go. Shoot. Go on. Have a good time, you crazy kids. Boy, Max.
Yeah.
Try to sell the ticket and have an extra drink on the proceeds, yeah?
Right.
Hello? Hampstead 2837? Could I speak to Captain Les Gay, please? Oh, good evening. You don't know me. My name is Fisher. I heard from the grapevine that you have a car for sale. Yes, that's right, the American one. I saw it in your garage. Now, how much are we asking for exactly? 1100, I see. Well, it certainly seems the job for me. I just don't like the price much. Now, when can we meet? Tomorrow afternoon? No, I don't think I can manage that. I'm going to Liverpool on Sunday. I was rather hoping that, I say, I don't suppose you could come to my home tonight. It's in Maidavale. I'd call on you, only, I'm afraid I twisted my knee rather badly. It's at, 51A, Sherrington Gardens. No, Sherrington, that's right. Turn left at the underground, it's about a 2-minute walk. Oh, you'll be here in an hour, very good of you. By the way, will you be bringing the car? Oh, good, it doesn't matter. I had a good look at it anyway. Could you please bring the registration and any necessary papers, please? Now, I don't see why we can't settle this whole thing here and now. Provided you drop the price sufficiently, of course. Well, we'll see what a couple of drinks will do. Well, goodbye. Captain Linsky.
Mr. Fisher?
Yes, Captain Linsky?
Yes.
Oh, do come in. Very good of you. Did you have any trouble finding the place?
No, not at all.
Oh, sit down, please, please. Now, how about a drink?
You know, I can't help thinking I've seen you someplace before.
Funny you should mention that. You know, the second I saw you, I thought, wait a minute. Lesgett? No, you're not Lesgett. You're Swan. C.J. Swan. Or was it C.A.?
C.A.? You've a better memory than I have. Now, Fisher, where did we meet?
Were you in Cambridge?
Yes.
Must have been 10, no, 15 years ago. You wouldn't remember me. I came in your last year.
Well, what a coincidence.
This calls for a special drink. I was hoping on palming you off on an indifferent port. Let's see, how about some brandy? Good year.
Perfect. By the way, how did you know my car was for sale?
Your garage told me.
That's odd. I don't recall mentioning it to anyone now.
I was stopping by for a fill-in. I told them I wanted an American car, and they gave me your number. I say it is for sale, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course.
Good. But I refuse to discuss the price with you after we've had at least 3 brandies.
I warn you, I drive a hard bargain, drunk or sober.
So do I.
Now, I think we must have seen each other since Cambridge.
Have you ever been to Wimbledon?
That's it. Wendy's. Tony Wendy's. Well, then what's all this about Fisher?
What's all this about Lesgate? Would you like a cigar, by chance?
Oh, no, I think I'll stick to my pipe here, if you don't mind.
Well, that's a habit you've changed.
Oh?
Yes, I always remembered at college you used to smoke rather expensive cigars, actually. Wait a minute. I think I have a picture of you somewhere. Yes, look at this one. At an old school reunion dinner years ago. There you are, and right in the middle, smoking the biggest cigar in the business.
I think this must have been the first and last reunion I ever went to. What a murderous thug I was.
Yes, you do rather. Of course, what I always remember you for was the college ball. You were the treasurer, weren't you?
Honorary treasurer. I used to organize the beastly things.
Some of the ticket money was stolen, wasn't it?
That's right. Nearly £1,000. I put the money in a cash box in my study, and in the morning it had gone. Still makes me sweat to think of it.
It was the college porter, of course.
Yes, poor old Alfred. He never could back a winner. They found the cash box in his back garden.
But not the money.
Good Lord, 15 years ago.
So what are you doing nowadays, huh?
Well, I deal in property. You know, I don't follow tennis too closely. Do you still play?
Oh, no. No. Afraid I gave up on tennis. Or rather, tennis gave me up. One has to earn a living sometime. I've had a pretty good run for my money. You know, I went around the world 3 times.
I bet they treated you like a film star.
Well, film stars get paid. Oh, God.
There is that.
Of course, I did manage to save a bit on expenses. Over the past few years, I was able to save up a few £1,000s. Not much compared to one of your film stars, of course.
So what are you doing now, then? Just making up the lost time?
I sell sports equipment. Not very lucrative, but gives me plenty of spare time.
Well, I'm here to tell you, you run a very comfortable place.
My wife has some money of her own. Otherwise, I should hardly feel like blowing £1,000 on your car.
1,100. Yes, people with capital don't realize how lucky they are. I've already resigned to living on what I could earn.
Of course, could always marry for money.
Yeah, some people do make a business of that.
I know I do.
You mean the girl you fell in love with happened to have some money of her own?
No. Oh, I always intended to marry for money. I had to. Whilst I was in first-class tennis, I met wealthy people all over the world. I was somebody. While my win lasted, of course. I decided to snap up the first chance I got. You know, I almost married a Toby Boston girl with £5 million to her name. We got as far as pictures of the paper and everything. And then she ended up trading me in for an ad to a chain of grocery stores. Funny how they stick together. I decided to settle for a good deal less and a lot more easy. My wife had been a fan of mine for some time.
That's putting it pretty bluntly.
Have I shocked you?
No, I always admire a man who knows what he wants.
To know what you're willing to pay for. That's the thing. Everything has its price. People often fail because they want to buy cheap. I learned to pay a big price for the things I want in life. I usually get it.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Now look, I have no great deal of...
I was telling you about my wife. She got the money from her late aunt, who got it from her late husband, who got it from his first wife. Now, although a large chunk tends to get chopped off every time somebody dies, a good portion of it manages to filter through.
So you're saying you married for money? Well, why do you think she married you?
I was a tennis star. She never would have married a commercial salesman.
But you've given up tennis and she hasn't left you.
Oh, she nearly did. Oh, God.
Let me witness. You got a groggy.
Oh, thank you, boy. Let's have one of those bottles over here, shall we?
Red eye.
Might as well finish up that brandy. Would you like to hear about it, by the way?
Hear what?
What about my wife? How she nearly left me.
You're the host. It's your privilege.
To be frank, I think you can help. Just sort of a man-to-man advisor.
Well, I'm at your service.
After we were married, I played in various different championships and Margot tagged along. You know, I think she found it a bit much. She kept offering me to give up tennis and play husband instead. In the end, though, we compromised. I played in various different tournaments, and she stayed at home. About a year ago, I flew to America to play in the grass court season. And when I got back, I assumed that a lot of things had changed whilst I was away. For one thing, she didn't love me. There were phone calls that would end abruptly if I happened to walk by. And there was an old school friend who she would visit from time to time. Then one day, we had a row. I wanted to play in the covered court tournament, and she, as usual, didn't want me to go. I was in the bedroom. The phone rang. It all sounded pretty urgent. Suddenly, she seemed very keen that I should play in that tournament after all. So I packed my kid in the car and drove off. I drove the car 2 blocks down, parked it, and walked back on my tracks. 10 minutes later, she walks out of the house and took a taxi. I took another. Her old school friend lived in a studio at Chelsea. I could see them through the studio window as he cooked spaghetti over a gas ring. They didn't say much. They just looked very natural together. Funny how you can tell when people are in love. Then I started to walk. I started to wonder what would happen if she left me. Would I have to find some way to earn a living to begin with? I suddenly realized how much I learned to depend on the old girl. All these expensive tastes I've acquired while I was on top. And now big tennis was finally finished with me. And so apparently had my wife. I can't ever remember a time where I was so scared. I stopped in a pub to have a few drinks. And while I was there, I began to think of all sorts of things. I thought of 3 different ways of killing her. I even thought of killing her. Now that seemed a far more sensible idea. And just when I was deciding how I could do it, I suddenly saw something which completely changed my mind. I didn't go to the tournament after all. When I got back, she was sitting exactly where you are now. I told her I decided to give up tennis and look after her instead.
Well?
Well, as it turns out, I didn't get so worked up after all. Apparently, that spaghetti evening had been a sort of fond farewell. The boyfriend had been called back to New York.
Oh, in America?
Yeah. And there were long letters from there. They usually arrived on Thursdays. And she burnt all of them. Except one. That one letter she would transfer from handbag to handbag. It was always with her. That letter had become an obsession with me. Well, I had to know what was in it. And finally, I did.
You stole it?
Yes! I even wrote 2 anonymous notes offering to send it back.
Why?
I was hoping that would get it to tell me more about him, but it didn't, so I kept the letter.
Why are you telling me all this?
Because you are the only person that I can trust. Anyway, they must have did it. Must have put the fear of God in it, because the letter stopped. We all lived happily ever after. You know, it's funny to think that just a year ago, I was actually planning on murdering my wife, and I might have done it had I not seen something which completely changed my mind.
Well, what'd you see?
I saw you.
And what was so odd about that?
Well, the coincidence, really. You see, about a few weeks back, I was at a reunion dinner, and some of the fellows there were talking about you. How you'd been court-martialed during the war, a year in prison. Now that was news to me. Mind you, at school we always said that old Swanee would somehow end up in prison. The cash box, I suppose.
And what about
My dear boy, everyone knows you took the money. Poor old Alfred.
Well, thanks for the drink. It was interesting hearing about your matrimonial affairs, I'm sure. I take it you won't be wanting the car after all.
Would you like to know why I brought you here?
Yes, I think you'd better.
It was when I saw you at that pub that it happened. Suddenly, everything became quite clear. But a few months back, Margot and I had made out our wills. Quite short affairs, leaving everything we had to each other in case of accidents. Hers were over to just about £90,000, investments mostly. All a little too easy to get at. And that's dangerous, as they would be, they'd be bound to suspect me. I needed an alibi, a very good one. And then I saw you. You know, I always wondered what happened to people when they got out of prison. Now, people like you, I mean, did they get jobs? Do old friends rally around? Suppose, they never had any friends. I was so curious to know that I followed you home that night. I followed you home. Would you mind passing me that glass? Thank you. And I've been following you ever since.
Why?
I was hoping I'd be able to catch you at something and then from there be able to,
Blackmail me?
influence you. After a while, I started to get a good feel for your routine, which made it a lot easier.
Rather dull work.
Oh, to begin with, yes, but, well, you know how it is. You take up a new hobby, and the more you get to know about it, the more fascinating it becomes. You become quite fascinating. In fact, there were times I almost felt like you belonged to me.
Must have been interesting.
You always went dog racing on Mondays and Thursdays. I even took up the hobby myself just to be near you. You changed your name to Adams.
Well, yes, I got bored with Swan. Any crime in that?
No, not at all. And you used to frequent a little private club in Soho. It had an odd name, was it, the Kettle of Fish, that's it. You know, the police closed it down recently. Someone had been taking drugs or something.
Well, I don't know anything about that. I went there to eat, and there's no crime in that either.
None whatsoever. In fact, there's nothing really illegal about you. I become quite discouraged. But then you disappeared from your lodgings one day. So I phoned your landlady. I said, Mr. Adams owed me £50. Apparently that was nothing new. Mr. Adams apparently owed her 6 weeks' rent, and her best lodger £65. And Mr. Adams had always been such a nice gentleman. That's what seemed to upset her the most.
Yes, that's what always upsets them.
I say, boy, if you want another drink, do you mind putting on these gloves here? Thank you. Now, God, what was I? Oh, that's it. I lost you, then I found you at the dog races and tailed you home to your new lodgings in Belsize Park. There, Mr. Adams became Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson left Belsize Park, owing 15 weeks' rent, and somewhat richer for his brief encounter with the Miss Wallace. I used to go out with Miss Wallace on Wednesdays and Sundays, I noticed. She certainly was in love with you, wasn't she? I suppose that's why you were growing that handsome goatee, to please her. Poor Miss Wallace.
This is interesting. Please, go on.
July, August, September. Apartment 127A, Carlisle's Court. Occupant, a Miss Van Dorn. Her late husband left her 2 hotel chains and an apartment house. for a month.
Mrs. Van Dorn asked me to sell that car.
I know. I called her just before you arrived. She only wanted 800, you know.
Where's the nearest police station?
Opposite the church, 10 minutes walk.
Suppose I go there now.
And what would you tell me?
Everything.
Even about Mr. Adams and Mr. Wilson?
I shall simply tell them you're trying to blackmail me into well, murdering your wife.
Oh, I almost wish you would. Would you hear that? We'd have the best laugh of our lives.
Well, you're forgetting something.
Am I?
You've told me a few things tonight.
What of it?
Suppose I tell them how you followed them to that studio in Chelsea. How you watched them cook spaghetti and all that rubbish. Wouldn't that ring a bell?
Yeah, it certainly would. Basically, you follow her there yourself.
Me? Why should I?
Why should you steal her handbag? Why should you write all those blackmail notes? Can you prove that you didn't? You certainly can't prove that I did. It'd be a straight case of your word against mine.
Yeah, that ought to puzzle. But what could you say?
I should say that you came here tonight, half drunk, tried to borrow money on the strength that we were at college together. When I refused, you said something about a letter belonging to my wife. Far as I was trying to make out, you were trying to sell it to me. I gave you what little money I had, and you gave me the letter. It has your fingerprints on it. Remember? Then you said if I went to the police, you'd tell them some crazy story about me wanting to murder my wife. But before you go any further, old boy, do consider the inconvenience. You see, I'm somewhat, well known, and there'd be pictures of you as well. Sooner or later, a deputation of landladies and lodgers would come forward to testify to your character. It's almost certain to have seen you with Miss Wallace. You know, you were always careful not to be seen with her, I noticed. You always went to little out-of-the-way places, like that little tea shop in Pimlico.
That was her idea, not mine.
Yeah, it was rather crummy, wasn't it? Hardly a place to take Miss Van Dorn. Oh, by the way, does Miss Van Dorn know about Mr. Adams? Or Mr. Wilson? Or Miss Wallace? Oh! You were going to marry Miss Van Dorn, weren't you?
Smart, aren't you?
No, not really. I just had time to think things through. Putting myself in your position. That's why now you're going to agree.
What makes you think I would agree?
For the same reason that a donkey with a stick behind and a carrot in front goes forwards and not backwards.
Tell me about the carrot.
£10,000.
For a murder?
For a few minutes' work. That's all it is, really. And no risk either, I guarantee. That should please you. You're already on thin ice as it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up! It was in the papers. Middle-aged woman found dead due to an overdose of cocaine. It appears as though she'd been taking this stuff for a long time, but no one seems to know quite where she got it. But we know. Don't! Oh, Miss Wallace. You should take a long holiday abroad. Surely a honeymoon with Miss Van Dorn would be preferable to, 10 years detention in Dartmoor. My £1,000 should see you safely married to her. You'll find it makes a difference to have some money in the family.
This £1,000, where is it?
It's in a small attaché case in the check room.
Well, where?
Somewhere in London. Although, we don't meet again. As soon as you've, delivered the goods, I shall mail you a check room ticket along with the key. You can take this £1,000 into account.
Police would only have to trace one of those notes back to you. They'd hang us both from the same.
They won't. For the past few months, I've been cashing an extra £20, always in fivers.
Well, when would this take place?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow? Not a chance. I gotta think this through.
It has to be tomorrow. I arrange things that way.
Well, where?
Approximately where you're standing now.
How?
Tomorrow night, holiday, that's the American boyfriend, and I shall go to a stag party just down the road. She'll stay here. She'll go to bed early and listen to Saturday Night Theatre on the radio. She always does when I'm out. And exactly 23 minutes to 11, you shall enter by the street door. find the key to this door underneath the stair carpet. Yeah.
Under the 5th step.
That's the one. Go straight to the window and hide behind the curtains. At exactly 20 minutes to 11, I shall head to a telephone in the hotel to dial my boss. But I shall dial the wrong number. This number. That's all I shall do. When the phone rings, you see the lights turn on underneath the bedroom door. When the door opens, the light will stream across the room. So don't move until she answers that phone. And there must be as little noise as possible. When you're finished, pick up the phone, give it a soft whistle, then hang it. Don't speak, whatever you do. I shan't say a word. When I hear the whistle, I shall hang up and redial the correct number this time. I shall then call my boss as if nothing had happened and return to the party.
Well, what happens next? Go on.
You'll find a suitcase here. It will contain some clothes of mine from the cleaners. Take it here, open it up, and spray the contents of it onto the floor about this area. Then fill it with these cups and that cigarette box. Close the lid, but don't snap the box, and leave it just as it is now.
As if I left in a hurry.
That's the idea. At the window. If it's locked, unlock it, and go out exactly the same way you came in.
To that door.
Yes, and here's the most important thing. When you leave, return the key to the same place you found it.
Under the stair carpet.
Yes.
What exactly is supposed to have happened here?
They'll assume you broke in through these windows. You thought the house was empty, naturally, so you decided to get to work. Once you heard something, you saw the lights turn on underneath the bedroom door and hid behind the curtains. When she came in here, you attacked her before she could scream. When you realized that you actually killed her, you panicked and bolted out through the garden, leaving the loot behind.
Just a minute. I'm supposed to have entered by the garden. What if the windows had been locked?
It wouldn't matter. You see, she often takes a walk outside at night in the garden, and she usually forgets to lock the windows. That's what I should tell the police.
But she meant to
She
say-
isn't going to say anything, is she?
Is there a reason I shouldn't leave by the garden?
Yes, there's an iron gate that surrounds it. You climb it, you might be followed.
All right. I leave the flat, turn the key to the stair carpet, and exit through the street doors. Suppose the street doors were locked. How shall I get in the
The
third
street
place?
doors are never locked.
What time are you arriving home?
Around 12, I shall bring Halliday back for a nightcap. We shall discover her together, we shall be together the whole night. There's my alibi.
You're forgetting something.
What?
When you return with what's his name, Halliday, how are you getting into the apartment?
I shall let myself in.
But your key will be under the stair carpet. And when you take it out, he's bound to see you. That'll give the whole
No,
show
no,
away.
no, it will be my key under the stair carpet. It'll be hers. Before we leave, I shall take her key out from her bag and place it there when we leave. She won't be going out, so she won't miss it. When we return, I shall use my own key to let us in. And while Halliday is searching the garden or something, I shall take her key back out from the stair carpet and put it back into her bag just before the police arrive.
Well, how many keys to that door are there?
Just hers and mine.
Huh?
Oh, hello, darling. How are you? Oh, good to hear that the play's doing good. I hear that one's a classic. Oh, me? Oh, a bit sleepy, actually. I was thinking about making myself some coffee to try to stay awake. Oh, darling, would you hang on a second? I think there's someone at the front door. Careful. You can be seen from the bedroom window. Sorry, darling. False alarm. Oh, no, I'm afraid I won't be able to come. I hardly seem to have started. Oh, well, don't worry. We'll manage it one day. Yes, what? Oh, no, you two can go out. I don't mind. Oh, take it to Jerry's. That's right, Jerry's. Just mention my name. I don't know about the band, but the food's really good. Oh, by the way, darling, Maureen rang while you left. Said something about wanting to go to dinner on the weekend. There's a little note in your diary, but I can't seem to make out the handwriting. It says, Al Bithall? Who's he, another one of your boyfriends? Oh, Al Bithall, yes, of course. You know, I'm so glad we don't have to go to Maureen's. She's such a filthy cook, anyway. get back to this stuff. You have a great night, huh? I love you too. Darling, where's that picture of me in the Maharaja?
It's in here somewhere among the loose ones.
When are you gonna finish all these old press clippings?
I shall find time one of these days. Here we are. There's the Maharaja. Isn't he dreamy?
He had 4 Rolls Royces and enough jewels to sink a battleship. But all he ever wanted to do was play Wimbledon.
Poor darling. He was so short-sighted he could hardly see the end of the racket, let alone the ball.
You know, you two really ought to write a book about it.
Yes, why don't you two collaborate? A detective novel with a tennis background.
Murder on the center court. How about it, Max? Will you provide me with the perfect murder?
Tony, there's nothing I'd love better.
Now, how do you go about writing one of your detective stories?
Oh, you gotta forget about the detection and focus on the crime. Because the crime's the thing. It's like you're gonna steal something or murder.
Is that what you do? Interesting.
Well, what I do is I put myself in the murderer's shoes or the killer's shoes, and I just keep asking, what do I do next?
Do you really believe in the perfect murder?
Absolutely. But only on weekend. I don't think I could pull one off. I could probably plan one pretty good though.
Why not? Why don't you think you'd pull one off?
Well, because on paper everything turns out the way the author designed it. But in real life, it doesn't turn out always. I figured my murders would be more like my bridge game. I'd make them stare at a stake. I wouldn't even realize it until I saw that everyone was staring at me.
I think we better drink up, Max.
Okay?
Are you doing anything tomorrow?
No, I don't think so.
Yes. Why don't we all drive down to Windsor for lunch?
Oh, that's a good idea. Max, stop by early, but not too early. We may be nursing a hangover.
Say around 11.
Ah, yeah, that's about fine. Now, darling, have you seen my latch key anywhere? Can't seem to find it.
Are you sure yours isn't in your overcoat?
No, I think I checked it there.
Perhaps I have them both in my handbag. I'll just look.
Seems to be raining pretty hard. I could lend you a raincoat if it would help.
No, this one's fine. I mean, it isn't far, is it?
No, it's just around the corner, actually.
I only have one here. Have you checked everywhere?
Well, yes, I checked everywhere. Could you lend me yours?
Well, that's a bit awkward.
Why?
Well, I might go out.
Tonight?
Yes, I thought I might get to a movie or something.
Aren't you going to listen to the radio, Saturday Night Theater?
No, it's a thriller, and I don't like thrillers when I'm alone.
I see.
In any case, I shall be back before you, so I can let you in.
Well, we won't be back till late. You might be asleep by then.
You could probably always leave it under the mattress we do in America.
Oh, false alarm, chaps. Turns out it was in my glove this whole time.
Oh, that settles it.
So, what movie are you going to see?
The classic, I expect.
Do you think you'll get in Saturday night?
I can always try. Now, don't make me stay home. You know how I hate doing nothing.
Nothing. There's hundreds of things you could do. Have you written to Peggy about last weekend? What about these old press clippings? It's the ideal opportunity.
Well, I like that. You two off gallivanting while I stay home doing your boring press clippings.
Very well, then we'll go.
Tony.
Better call the Brendan and tell them we're not coming.
Now, darling, please, let's don't be childish about this. I'll do your old press clippings.
Well, you don't have to if you don't want to.
But I do want to. Have we any paste?
There should be some in the cabinet somewhere.
Right. And scissors in the mending basket. Oh, look, the paste is empty. It would be. Never mind, Mrs. Lucas is bound to have some.
Who's she?
Well, she's the lady across the road. I'll just pop over after a bit.
Why not just make some? I mean, all you need is flour and some starch.
Good idea. You know how to do it, Max?
I'll make it in 2 shakes.
Good old Max. Sorry, darling. Was I very unreasonable?
No, I don't mind. I tell you what, I'll do your press clippings tonight if you install that shelf in the kitchen tomorrow, as you promised.
First thing tomorrow. I promise.
Is thinking just add more water to the start.
It's possible that old man Burge just might home tonight. If he does, tell him I'm at the Grand and it might be important.
What's the number?
It's somewhere in the book.
Right. Well, look after each other.
We will. Margot, have a good night.
Good night, Max. Darling, will you bring Max round in the car afterward?
We'll start back first for a nightcap. Are you sure you won't be up too late?
I shall be fast asleep, and I don't want to be disturbed.
Then we'll be quiet as mice.
Thank you. Good night.
Goodbye, darling. Let's go, Max!
Hello? Who's this? Tony! Tony, please come home quickly. Well, there's been an accident. I can't explain, but a man is dead. No, I won't touch anything. I won't tell anyone. Tony, please come home. Please hurry.
Let me see. I better call a doctor.
But he's dead!
Yes, I know. When he fell, the scissors must have gone right through him.
Tony, could you cover him up? Could you do something?
Yeah, yes, in a minute.
All right. Go on. Tony, I've got to get some aspirin.
That's better. Yeah, you might need something to drink. What are you doing?
Get me some water for my aspirin.
That's better?
Yes. Close the windows.
No, we mustn't touch anything till the police arrive.
When will the police get here?
Have you called them?
No, you told me not to speak to anyone. Shouldn't we better call them now?
Yes, in a minute.
Tony, I'll get dressed then.
Why?
Well, they want to see me.
They're not going to see you.
But they'll have questions.
They can wait till later. I'll tell them everything they need to know, okay?
Tony?
Yes?
Why did you phone me?
What? I'm sorry, darling. I just thought of something. I'll tell you later. You said you had a stocking?
Or a scarf, isn't it there?
No, but I expect the police will find it soon. Now, darling, you go to bed. I'll talk to the police, okay? broke in and attacked my wife. Yes, I'll explain everything when you get it. Now, how long will it take? 2 minutes, okay. No, we trying to touch anything, then you. I'll be with you in a minute!
Hadn't we better call Max and tell him?
I have. He's on his way over. By the way, sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say I closed the shutters in the bedroom windows, that's all.
Why?
People started to come out for their Sunday papers. We now have a collection of refined snoopers.
Oh, is it in the papers already?
No, but I expect it will be soon. What were you going to ask?
I've lost it for now. Tony, why were the police so long last night?
Were they? I didn't notice. I'm afraid I drifted off to sleep rather quickly.
I know you did. They were here for hours. Cars coming and going all night. It was horrible.
By the way, darling, the police are going to want to know why you didn't phone them immediately.
How could I? You were on the phone.
I know.
Darling, you distinctly told me not to speak to anyone until you arrived.
I know, darling, I know, but I told them a slightly different story.
Why?
I told them you didn't call the police because you naturally assumed that I would phone them from the hotel.
Why did you say that?
Because it's a perfectly logical explanation, and they believed it. You see, if they got the idea that we delayed calling them even for a few minutes, they might start to get nosy and ask questions.
So you want me to say the same thing?
I think so, just in case it comes up again.
Right.
I think that's Max. Would you get that the door, darling? I'll just take care of these.
Certainly.
Good morning, madam.
Oh,
Mrs. Windus?
yes.
My name is Hubbard. I'm a police officer. May I come in?
Yes, of course. I'll just tell my husband.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, sir. Chief Inspector Hubbard. I'm in charge of this investigation.
I believe I already gave your sergeant all the necessary information, sir.
Yes, and I've seen his report, of course, but there's a few things I'd like to see firsthand for myself, as it were. And I understand from my sergeant he only saw you for a few moments last night, Mrs. Windus. Mrs. Windus?
Yes.
My wife was under considerable shock.
Oh, yes. Extremely nasty experience you had last night. Shock. Absolutely shocking. And I know your nerves are raw, and I know it's a very inconvenient time, but might I have a look around?
Oh, yes, certainly. The bed and bathroom are just this way.
Thank you. Well, he didn't come through there.
And the kitchen has bars on the window. We assume he must have come through these windows here.
I understand you weren't here when all this happened.
No. I was at a party at the Grendon Hotel.
Really, just down the road?
Yes, by curious coincidence, I was actually on the phone with my wife when she was attacked.
Yes, so I gather. Could you tell me exactly what time that was, sir?
You know, I'm not sure.
Now, did you notice, Mrs. Winters?
No.
You telephoned the police at 3 minutes to 11, sir.
Did I? In that case, it must have been. Around 11:15, actually. Won't you sit down, Inspector, please?
Thank you, sir.
Have you any idea who he was?
Yes. Well, at least we've discovered where he lived. There seems to be some confusion as to his real name.
Oh?
Yes, he appeared to have several.
Really?
Had you ever seen him before?
No. Is this him?
Yes. You don't recognize him.
No, I've never seen him before.
Didn't even catch a glimpse of his face?
No.
Before I showed you this photograph, you said you'd never seen it before. Now, how could you know that if you didn't see his face at all last night?
I don't quite understand.
Inspector, my wife certainly meant that as far as she knew, she had never seen him before.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
And how about you, sir? Had you ever seen him?
No. And yet,
Yes.
well, he certainly looks like someone I went to college with. The goatee makes quite a difference.
You wouldn't have to remember his name.
Now you're asking. It must have been 15 years since I left.
No, is it Leslie?
No,
Wilson?
no.
Swan?
Swan? Wait a minute, Swan, yeah. Oh, Lord. There's a picture of him, actually. At an old school reunion dinner we were at. There he is in the middle with a big cigar. I went to college with him. It's unbelievable.
Did you know him well?
No, he was a senior.
Had you ever met with him since then?
Yes, but nothing to speak of.
When was this?
About a few months ago. It was at a railway station. Waterloo, I think. You know, I remember noting how little he changed.
Had he the moustache and all that?
No, he didn't.
Mrs. Winters, could you show me exactly what happened to you last night?
Tony, do I have to?
I'm afraid so, Doc.
I was in bed when the phone rang. I got up and I came in here.
Now, did you switch on this light?
No.
Just show me where you were standing, please.
Right. The phone rang. I picked it up.
Now, you sure your back was to the window now?
Yes.
Why?
Why not?
Well, why go around the desk? I should have just picked it up from this side.
Surely my wife
Just
is
a moment, sir.
But I always answer the phone from here.
Why?
In case I should need to write anything down. I can hold the phone in my left
All right,
hand.
let's go.
The phone rang. I picked it up. That's when he came around from behind. He got something around my
Now,
neck.
something, we're not giving you a something.
A stocking or a scarf.
What happened then?
Well, he pushed me over the desk. I distinctly remember feeling for the scissors.
Now, those scissors, where were they used to get?
In that mending basket there. I'd forgotten to put them away.
What makes you think he came from behind those curtains?
Where else could he have been?
Curtains were drawn, I suppose.
Yes.
Now, did you draw them yourself?
I drew them, Inspector, before I went out.
Did you lock the window at the same time?
Yes,
Quite sure?
perfectly sure. I always remember to lock when I close the curtains.
Then how do you suppose he got in this room?
Well, we assume he broke in.
There's no sign of a break-in. None of the locks seem to be tampered with. The window is quite undamaged.
But he must have. When I got back here, the windows were wide open. Unless, darling, are you sure you didn't go out to the garden last night to get to lock up?
I did step out for a moment. After he attacked me, I pushed open the window and I stepped onto the terrace to get a breath of fresh air.
Now, you say you pushed the window open. Are you sure you didn't unlock it first?
Yes.
So was it already open?
I don't recall.
Mrs. Winters, I must tell you, what puzzles me is why you didn't telephone the police immediately after this happened.
Well, I was attempting to phone the police when I discovered that my husband was on the line, and naturally I assumed that he would phone the police before he came home.
Well, didn't it occur to you to even call for a doctor?
No,
Why ever not?
he was dead.
Now, how did you know that?
Well, one look at those cold, staring eyes.
So you did see his face after all.
I saw his eyes, I didn't see his face.
Inspector, my wife has obviously never seen this man before. And if he didn't get in through those windows, then how did he get in?
Well, as a matter of fact, sir, well, quite certainly came through this door.
But there are only two keys. Tony had his with him, and mine was in my handbag.
Yes, are you sure you didn't go out this door last night to get to lock up?
Yes,
Now, you
positive.
say there are only two keys to this door. Now, you sure your caretaker doesn't have a key?
No.
Do you employ a charwoman?
Yes. But I'm always at home when she comes.
Oh, what makes you think he came in this way?
Shoes.
His shoes.
Well, with all the rain we had last night, sir, the ground was soaking wet. Now, if he'd come through your garden, as you suggest, he'd have tracks, mud, dirt all over everything. He did leave any because he wiped his feet on the front doormat.
How can you tell?
Well, it's a fairly new mat. Some of the fibers came off on his shoes.
But surely...
And there's a small tar stain there. The fibers show that as well. There is no question about it, sir.
Wait a minute. I think I got it. Do you remember when your bag was stolen? Was your key inside?
Yes.
No, wait. I'd like to know about this. What sort of bag?
A handbag, Inspector. My wife lost it at Victoria Station.
Anything missing?
All the money was gone.
Anything else?
No.
No papers or letters?
No.
Quite sure about that?
Yes.
And was your latch key in your bag when you lost it?
Yes, but it was still there when I recovered it weeks later.
Whoever stole the bag could have had the key copied,
Where was the bag found eventually?
Victoria Station.
but not after several weeks later, by which time he could have copied the original and placed the original back into the bag.
Now, before we go any further with this, how would he have gotten through the street door?
Well, the street door is always unlocked.
Well, no, yes, he could have had your key copy. He could have used it to open that door. Of course he didn't.
Why not?
Because if he had, the key would have still been on him when he died, but no key was found when we went through his pockets.
I see. Well, right back to where we started, aren't
But not quite. You say you saw this man at Waterloo Station.
we? Yes.
Are you sure it wasn't Victoria?
May have been. When did you lose your bag? Was it that week we went to Peggy's? That's right, it was Victoria Station. I remember now. He was sitting at a restaurant when I saw him.
And this is where you left your handbag.
Yes, of course. You were with me, of course. Don't you remember me saying, there's someone I went to college with?
I don't recall.
Now, this man may have had something to do with your bag after all. Fascinating. Now, what we need to do is get this all down on paper. What I'd really like you to do is make an official statement before the inquest. Now, my office is only 2 or 3 minutes for here. Perhaps you could come now.
Oh, yes, of course. Excuse me. Max. Max, this is Inspector Hubbard. Inspector Hubbard, this is Max Halliday. He was with me that night at the Grendon.
How do you?
Now, Mr. Halliday, as you were with Mr. Windus last night, perhaps you could help me with something. Did you happen to notice what time it was when he left the party to go to the telephone?
Yes. It was 20 to 11.
And how did you come to notice that?
Well, Tony got up from the table and I thought we were leaving, so I checked my watch.
Well, thank you, sir. You see, it was when Mrs. Windus came in here to answer his phone call that she was attacked.
Wait. You phoned Marga?
Yes.
But when you got up from the table, you told me that you were calling your boss.
Tony, I remembered now what I was going to ask you. Why did you phone me?
Now, wait a minute, before I lose the thread here. 20 minutes to 11, you left the party to phone your boss.
Yes, I used a payphone in the lobby hotel.
And how long were you on the phone with him before you called your wife?
Well, as a matter of fact, I never did call him. I couldn't remember his number, so I phoned my wife to ask her to look it up in the address book.
You mean you pulled me out of bed just to give you his number?
I had to. My boss was flying to Brussels in the morning. I had to remind him of something. It was rather important.
Wasn't there a telephone directory in the hotel?
Yes, but he was at home. His home number isn't listed.
So you never called him out?
No, naturally. When I heard what happened here, I forgot all about it.
Mr. Halliday, the Winduses were just on their way to my office to make their statements. Could you leave me your address, sir? I might need to get in touch.
Sir.
I'll just take my things.
I'm staying at the
Just write it down there, if you will, sir. Telephone number as well. Ever been over here before, sir?
Yeah. About a year ago on vacation.
Inspector, there's a devil of a crowd outside. Can't you just send this away?
Well, I'm afraid they'll come back faster than they leave, sir. Now, what I was going to suggest is with them, we went out to the garden. There's a gate there at the other side. You know, would you mind taking a look?
Oh, yes, sir.
How much does he know about you and Mrs. Winters?
What are you talking about?
You wrote a letter to her from New York. It was found in the dead man's inside pocket. Now, I didn't mention anything before because I wasn't sure how much Mr. Winters knew. Any idea how he got there?
No.
Where's Tony?
He went out into the...
Mrs. Winters, when you lost your handbag, did you lose a letter?
No.
Margot, it was found in the dead man's pocket.
You did lose it, didn't you?
Yes.
I asked you that before, didn't I?
Yes, but my husband doesn't know anything about it.
This man was blackmailing you, wasn't he?
No.
Margot, it's no use. Tony's just gonna have to find out.
No.
It's the right thing to do. Inspector,
No.
after Margot lost my letter, she got these two black notes.
That's February. How many times have you seen this man?
I've never seen him.
Sir, I think you should come along with us. Now, Mrs. Winters, when you come to make your statement, there may be other police officers present. Now, I should warn you that anything you say may be taken down and used against you in evidence. Now, never mind what you've told me so far. We'll forget about all that. From now on, I want you to tell me exactly what you know about this man and exactly what happened here last night. And if you try to conceal anything at all, it may put you in a very serious position.
I do wish you'd explain what you mean by all this.
Well, I will. And you admit you killed him.
Yes.
You say you did it in self-defense. Unfortunately, there are no witnesses. We only have your word for that.
But I heard it all. Over the telephone, Inspector.
What exactly did you hear?
Well, I heard that, and,
Did you hear anything to indicate there was a struggle going on?
well, what I heard was perfectly consistent with what my wife had
So
told
all
me.
you know about this matter is what your wife has told you. Now, you suggest this man came in here to bugger your flat, but there's absolutely no evidence of that. There is evidence, clear evidence, that this man was blackmailing you.
Blackmail?
I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, sir, but your wife had been having an affair with Mr. Halliday.
No.
It's true.
I'm so sorry, Tony.
We really should have told you sooner.
Now, you suggest this man came through that window, but we know he came through that door.
But there are only 2 keys. Tony had it with him, and mine is in my handbag. Right here.
You could have let him in.
You're not suggesting that she let him in herself.
At present, sir, that appears to be the only way he could have entered.
Don't you even believe I was attacked? How do you think I got these bruises on my throat?
You could have caused those bruises yourself. Now, we found the silk stocking outside that window. It had 2 knots tied in it. They mean anything to you?
I suppose that's what he used when he attacked me.
Now, we found the twin stocking wrapped up in newspaper at the bottom of that wastepaper basket. Any explanation of why an attacker should do that?
No.
Those were your stockings, weren't they?
No.
Mrs. Winters, we know they were because one of the heels had been darned with some silk that didn't quite match. We found the reel of that silk in that mending basket.
Tony, there were 2 stockings in here.
I heard that the police delivery planting clues to make sure of a conviction. I shouldn't have realized they did it in this country.
His men were here for hours. They could have done anything with it.
Of course they did. They wiped his shoes on the mat just to be sure. Yes, hello? Roger? Roger? Yes, hello. It's Tony Winters. Now listen, Roger. There was a burglary here last night, and Margot was attacked. No, she's fine. But the man was killed. And try not to laugh when you hear this, but the police actually think that Margot killed him intentionally.
I wouldn't say that if I were...
Yes, it's rather funny, isn't it? Now, will you come to the Maida Vale police station at once? Thank you, old boy. All right, darling. Roger's coming.
Now, Mr. Winters, I should advise...
Our solicitor will give us all the advice we need. Thank you.
Margot, you're back.
Thank you, Max.
Are you coming, sir?
Yes, of course, Inspector.
All right. Just wondered.
the Home Secretary. He says there isn't enough evidence for a reprieve. Indeed. I shall try not to give up hope. Thank you. Would you excuse me for a moment? I may have to ring you back. Max.
Yeah, come in.
Yes, certainly. You're quite a stranger.
I'm sorry that I hadn't been around because
But everything that happened, let me make some room for you. I've been in here, afraid I haven't seen anyone for weeks. I've become quite used to it. I've had to move in here because people started to peer in from the bedroom window. And when the appeal failed, they started to climb in through the garden. You know, I can't blame them, I suppose.
I had to. Just in case it was
I'm afraid it's settled, Max. This just came in from the Home Secretary this morning.
Tony, this means nothing. We can't give up. She's being hanged tomorrow.
What else can we do? We've done everything, Matt. You know, I came by this morning to the prison to see her, but you know, she wouldn't see me. I was really glad, actually. You know, she never did like the pies. I shan't ever see her again.
Tony, I take it that you would be willing to do anything to save her life.
Yes, of course. I do absolutely anything.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can. You know what? In fact, I'm certain of it. But you gotta tell the police exactly the right story.
The right story.
Listen, I've been working on this for weeks, just in case it came to this. It's our only chance.
Well, let's hear it.
You've gotta tell the police that you hired Swan to murder her.
What are you talking about, Tony?
I've been writing this stuff for years. I know what I'm doing. Margot was convicted because no one would believe her story. I mean, the prosecution made it out to sound like she was telling one lie after another, and the jury won. But really, what did this case amount to? 3 things. My letter, her stocking, and the fact that no key was found on Swan must have meant she let him in or something. You see, now Swan's dead. So you can say whatever you want about Swan. You can say that the two of you knew each other and you planned this whole thing out together. Now the blackmail. He was suspected of blackmail for 2 reasons. Because my letter was found in his pocket, because you said that you saw him on the day that her bag went missing.
Well,
But you can say that you didn't see him on that day. And that you invented this whole story in order to tie him to the letter.
but the letter was found in his pocket.
Because you put it there.
Do you mean I should pretend that I stole her handbag?
Sure, I mean, you could have.
But why?
You were obsessed with that letter. And you wanted to find out who was writing to her. When you found it, you kept it. You held on to it.
But I can't say I wrote those blackmail notes.
Why not? I mean, no one can prove that you didn't.
Okay, so I stole her handbag and I blackmailed her. What else?
You planted it on Swan after he'd been killed.
Wait, when could I have done this?
After the party and before the police arrived. Then you took a stocking out of the mending basket of Margot's and you replaced it with whatever Swan used.
Max, I know you're trying to help, but can you imagine anyone believing this?
I mean, you've got to make them believe.
But I don't know what to say. You have to come with me.
No, they mustn't know that I've been here. They know the kind of writer that I am. If they suspected that we spoke, they would never listen. They can't know that I've been
Max, this is ridiculous. Why would I want anyone to let a market?
for one of the main stock motives. Does she have a will?
Yes, I believe she has.
And are you the main beneficiary?
I suppose so.
Well, there you have it.
But when thousands of husbands and wives leave money to each other without murdering each other, the police wouldn't hear a word of it.
Tony, blame you for trying to pull off a murder that never came off. I mean, face it, the most that you would get would just be a couple of years in prison.
Well, that's easy coming from you, Max. Her life may not have been in danger if it hadn't been for you. It's because of your association with her she lost all sympathy with the jury. Now, Max, don't get me wrong, okay? If there was any chance of this working out, of course I'd do it. But it's got to be convincing. Now, how could I persuade Swan to do a thing like this?
You'd have to say that you offered him money.
What money? I haven't got any.
You've got Marco's money.
And it would take months for me to get my hands on that. People don't commit murder on credit. No, we've got to think of something better than that.
Okay, we will. There's an answer and we've got to find it. How much time do we have?
So tomorrow morning, I think. Be with you in a minute!
Good day, sir.
Oh! Hello, Inspector. Is, this about my wife?
No, sir, I'm afraid not.
Oh! Well, what is it then?
Well, actually, I'm making inquiries concerning a robbery that took place about 3 weeks ago.
Can't just wait for a few days?
Oh, of course. And believe me, I'm very conscious of your position. And may I say how...
Yes. All right, Inspector. How can I help you?
Well, a cashier at a factory over Ledbury Street was attacked in his office, and 2 men made off with several £1,000s. Oddly enough, mostly just in £5 notes.
What's that got to do with me?
Well, in cases like this, each division is asked to keep a lookout for anyone spending large sums of money.
I see.
And I just wondered if you had sold something recently for cash.
Why?
Well, my Sergeant O'Brien, you met him. He was doing inquiries concerning this at Wells's garage the other day, and it appears that you just settled an account there recently for over £600.
Yes, I had quite a bit on me at the time, so I paid in cash.
I see. Did you just draw this money from your bank?
Have you been to my bank, Inspector?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. Guilty as charged. They wouldn't help me, though, not without an official warrant. I keep these things very jealously guarded. Where did you get it, sir?
Is that really any of your business?
Well, if this money was stolen, yes, sir, it's very much my business.
You really think I've been receiving stolen goods?
Well, until you tell me where you got it, I won't know what to think, will I? You see, if you got this money from someone you didn't know, it may very well be the person we're looking for. Hello. It's yours, sir.
What is it?
Someone's latchkey lying on the floor just there.
No, mine should be in my coat pocket there.
No, it's not yours. It must be mine. Oh, let's see. Yes, it is. There's a hole there in my pocket. It must have fallen through. You know, so that's the trouble with these keys. They're all alike, aren't they? You were saying?
Well,
Oh, yes, concerning the money, I'd be so grateful if you tell me where you got it. £1,000 is a lot of money to walk around with.
You said 600 a minute ago.
Oh, well, yeah, well, my sergeant decided to check a little further before he turned in his report, and he said you also paid a bill to your tailors and one for wine and spirits.
Well, I'm terribly sorry to put you in trouble. If your sergeant had come straight to me, I could have told him at once. You see, I'd won a rather large sum at, dog racing.
Over £1,000 quid?
Yes, over £1,000. It's been done before, don't you know?
See, why didn't you just tell me that straight away, sir?
Well, because I'm a little ashamed to be caught gambling when my wife is on the sentence of death.
Oh, yes, I know how it is. Helps to keep your mind off things. Well, that seems to answer all my questions, doesn't it? Sorry to apologize.
Not at all?
Oh, one more thing I have.
God.
You happen to own a blue attaché case?
Now, don't say you found it already.
Why did you look?
Actually, yes. I think I left it somewhere in a taxi somewhere. I was going to report it this afternoon. How did you know about the blue attaché case?
Well, the wine shop remembered you having it with you when you paid your bill there. So when the sergeant checked back at the garage and your tailors, they both remembered you having it with you when you paid them.
Yes, I use it instead of a briefcase.
Oh, I see. Well, these taximen are so good at turning things in. I hope you find everything all right. Oh, Mr. Halliday?
Is this what you're looking for, Inspector?
What did you find that?
You got the key, Tony?
No, Max, what are you doing? Have you gone mad?
Get it open.
Now, wait a minute, sir. Why did you tell me you left this in a taxi?
Look, you see, I thought I had machines, but I have two attaché cases. This one, Max, don't be a boy. I got the key.
There must be over £5,000 in there. Where did you get it, sir?
I can tell you where he got it, or why. This money was supposed to go to pay Swan to kill Margot right here in this very room. But we all know there was an accident, right? So there's no need to pay him after all, right, Tony? He couldn't produce it, so without raising questions, guess what? He's been living off of it ever since. Ever since the 28th of September.
Well, Mr. Wood,
What's the matter, Tony? Just a minute ago you said that you'd be willing to do whatever it took to save her life. What's changed your mind?
Can you believe this, Inspector? Before you came here, he was trying to persuade me to go to the police and tell the most outrageous story you've ever heard in your entire life. Apparently, I bribed Swan to murder my wife so that, correct me if I'm wrong, Max, so that I could inherit all the money. And that's not all. You remember that saucy letter that Halliday wrote to my wife? Well, it wasn't Swan who stole it. I did. And I wrote this to blackmail it. And I took Halliday's letter and planted it on the body.
And then the stock.
Oh, yes, the stalking. Perhaps I should tell this one. It might sound more like a confession. You see, I substituted. Is that the right word, Max? Substituted? One of my wife's stockings for the other one. You follow me, don't you? What else, Max?
He must have given Swan a key. Kept it here. On the door, somewhere. On this ledge, maybe. Swan let himself in. And he hid behind that curtain. Tony called from the hotel, bringing Margot up to the phone.
if Swan had used Mr. Witness's key, it still would have been on him when he died. Besides, how would Mr. Witness have gotten in when he returned from the hotel?
Margot could have let him.
No, he let himself in with his own key. Now, that was clearly established at the trial, don't you remember?
Come on, Max. You'll move.
He left the key here for Swan somewhere, probably on the sledge. He let himself in and he put it back on the ledge.
No. This is all well and good, but it gets me no closer to what I came here to find out.
Inspector, this is a matter of life and death. What else matters?
What matters to me is where Mr. Witness got this money. Now, that's all I'm interested in. Well, sir, where did you get it?
Are you sure you want to know? I don't think Max is going to like this, but if you want the truth, you can have it.
Yeah, come on.
Very well then, you asked for it. When Margot phoned me home that night, I found her, kneeling over Swan's body. She was digging through his pockets for something. She kept saying that he had something of hers but couldn't find it. And she was almost hysterical. That's why I wouldn't let the police see her. In the state she was in, she would have told every lie under the sun. The next morning, she showed me the money, just as it is now, all in 5-time notes. She said that if anything ever happened to me, don't let them find it. When the police arrested her, after they arrested her, I took everything that was in this case to Charing Cross Station and put it in a checkbook. Whenever I needed money, I took some out and put the rest into a different checkbook. I knew if you found it, she wouldn't stand a chance. You see, she was just about ready to give it to him when she killed him instead.
Do you expect anyone to believe that story?
I've really no idea. How about it, Inspector?
Well, it certainly does seem to fit the verdict of the trial.
You mean you're not even going to look into this?
This has been out of my hands for months, sir. There's been a trial and an appeal.
Yes, it will do you no good because then you have to admit that you arrested the wrong person.
Max, you better go.
It's out of it. It's out of it.
You've made one mistake, Tony. What's going to happen when she finds out?
She'll deny it, of course.
Or maybe she'll change her will. Then you have done all this for nothing.
You think you're fine? I told the police that story. They believe me?
No, not a chance, sir. For nearly every execution, someone comes forward with some crazy thing like this. And I know it must be very distressing coming as it did.
You think they'll let him see her? I don't want
I'll
to
just
upset
speak
her.
with your solicitor, sir. He should be able to prevent it. And if I were you, sir, I'd get that money in the bank before someone pinches it.
So I think I will, thank you.
Oh, yes, and I was asked to tell you, the police station, some of your wife's things are still there.
What sort of things?
Books and a handbag, I believe. They'd just like you to come around sometime and collect it.
You mean, after tomorrow?
Oh, today, if you like, just speak with the desk sergeant. He knows all about it. Well, goodbye, sir. I don't suppose we shall meet again.
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Inspector. Thank you.
Chief Inspector here. Yes, give me O'Brien. O'Brien, I'm back in again. Start the ball rolling.
Going back here, what's the idea? What do you want to? I don't believe in 1 second that she gave him that money. I'm not leaving you without that bag. No, you've got to get out of here. I'm not leaving you without that bag. Stay loud. If you want to save her life, you keep quiet and leave this with me. Shh. You nearly ditched us. What's going on here, Inspector?
saints protect us from the gifted archer. Mr. Halliday, you should prepare yourself for a shot.
Max, what are you doing here?
What are you doing?
Where's Tony?
He went out.
As a matter of fact, we're not quite certain when he'll be back. It's all right. Was that you at the door just now?
Yes. Why didn't you let me in?
You've got a key. Why didn't you use it?
It didn't fit the lock.
And you know why, don't you?
Have the locks been changed?
Let's see your hand there. Now, you knew this wasn't your key, didn't you?
No.
Oh, come now, Mrs. Winters. Your husband has explained all of this. You can tell us all about this now.
What is this? I don't understand. I don't understand. What is it?
No. I don't believe you do. Please. Please have some. Please sit. Thompson, take this back around to the police station. Quick, go. Oh, wait a minute, Claude, you can't walk down the street like that. Will you be arrested? Put it in this.
Margot, what are you doing here? What's going on?
I don't know. The warden came to see me this morning. He just said I was to go home. Handed me my clothes and my bag, and 2 detectives drove me here. They parked around the corner. And I came up, but my key wouldn't fit the lock. And then that policeman there had me come to the garden and... Where's Tony? He was supposed to see me today. Has something happened to him?
No, nothing. Inspector, you mind telling us what's happening here?
Sir. Mrs. Winters, what I have to tell you will come as a great shock. We strongly suspect that your husband had planned to murder you.
What?
It's true. He hired Swan to come here that night and kill you.
How long have you known
Did
this?
you suspect something yourself?
No. Never. And yet... What's the matter with me, Max? Shouldn't I break down or something?
It's just a delayed reaction. You're going to have one hell of a breakdown in a few days. How long have you known this, Frank?
Well, the first clue came quite by accident, I must admit. We discovered that your husband had been spending large amounts of £5 notes all over the place. It came to well over £3,000. And it appeared to start about the time that you were arrested. Now, I had to know where he got that money and how, and then I remembered that after you were arrested, we searched this flat, and I remembered seeing his bank statement in that desk. So yesterday afternoon, I went to the prison and asked to see your effects, and while I was doing so, managed to lift your latchkey. Now, highly irregular, I know. My blood was up. This morning, while your husband was out, I came back here to get a look at that statement, but I never saw it, because I couldn't get through that door. You see, I used the key from your handbag just as you did now, but it wouldn't fit the lock. Yes, it's Hubbard again. Jimmy O'Brien. O'Brien, he's just found out about his raincoat. Yes, he came back here to cook it in. Now, I believe he's on his way to the station right now. Now, has Thompson returned with that handbag? Good. Now,
make sure you give him the books and that handbag, and make sure he sees that key. Better have him check the contents and sign for it. If he wants his own coat and key, tell him I'm going on holiday. Any questions? Right. Better give me a ring when he gets his way. Well, sir, have you figured it out?
No, not quite. Where is Margot's key?
Took me half an hour to figure out it was there.
But if it was just there, why didn't Tony just use it?
He didn't use it because he didn't realize it was there. He still thinks it's in his wife's handbag. See, you were very nearly right. He told Swan that he would put this under the stair carpet, Mrs. Witness, and then told him to return it there after he left. Miss Swan was killed. He naturally assumed that it would be in one of his pockets. Now, that was his mistake, because he did exactly as you suggested earlier. He opened the doorway and then returned it under the stair carpet before he came in.
And the key that Tony took off of Swan and put back in Margot's bag
Was Swan's own latchkey. I didn't figure that out myself. I just naturally assumed that your husband had changed the locks. But you see, it had always bothered me that no key was found on Witness Swan when he died. You ask most key men walk around with a key on them. Then I had a brainwave. I took the key from your handbag and went to Mrs. Van Dorn's house, and it had locked her front door. And then I called Scotland Yard.
Why have you brought me here?
She was the only other person that could know that key was under that stair carpet. I had to find out if you knew it was there.
Suppose I had known.
You didn't.
Max,
Yes.
I'm going to have that breakdown now.
Hubbard,
Handkerchief.
hang on just a while longer. Liams,
Aye, sir.
he's left the station. Now give me a thought when he's headed this way.
Right there, sir.
Now sooner or later he'll have to come back here. Now as I've pinched his key, he'll have to use the one in your handbag. Now when that doesn't fit, he'll realize his mistake. Yeah, but two and two together, and then he'll reach for the one under the stair carpet.
But Inspector, all this guessing. What if he does it, then it'll mean nothing?
Perfectly true. But when that door opens, we shall know everything.
And what are you going to do, sir?
Well, I'm to ring Scotland Yard. They're standing by right now, waiting for my phone call.
And Margot?
She will have nothing else to fear.
He's gonna run back to the garden. He's back. He's remembered.
Hubbard here. Yes. We've got him.